Good evening, everyone. We're sorry, but protocol requires that each table occupies 5 people only and does not exceed 5 people. So for tables with people over 5 persons, please move to another table, please. Thank you. Our main guests have arrived. We're gonna be starting the event in 2 minutes, so please can everyone be seated? Thank you.
Days shadowed by fear and uncertainty. Our moments of happiness numbered. What if my dear ones lose me? A ray of hope after my desperate seeking. Words inspiring hope and assurance. A homecoming heralding joy unparalleled.
Good evening, everyone. We'll be beginning the event in 1 minute. Can everyone please proceed to their seats? Thank you so much.
الأيام مليئة بالشك والخوف. هل باتت لحظات السعادة معدودة؟ فقدني الأحب. بصيص من الأمل يظهر بعد سعي يائس. وكلمات تلهم الأمل والطمأنينة. وعودة للحياة. تبشر بفرح لا حدود له. بدر السماء ممتن لك دوما.
Good evening, everyone. Kindly remain seated in your seats. We're going to start the event soon. And please wear your masks at all times during the event. Thank you. Masks on at all times during this event and to maintain precautionary measures at all times. Assalamu alaikum and good evening everyone. My name is Hawra Al-Balushi and I would like to welcome everyone to this beautiful evening in which we are celebrating 20 glorious years of providing the highest level of healthcare services by the largest private group of healthcare services in Oman, Badr al-Samaa Group of Hospitals. It was the sheer determination and vision of our founding directors to provide affordable healthcare services to each and every doorstep. It all started with a very humble beginning back in October 2002. Badr al-Samaa Group of Hospitals has grown to 13 centers, 6 of which are hospitals and 7 of which are medical centers. Two of the hospitals are accredited by the Joint Commission International of United States of America, and 4 hospitals are accredited by the Australian Council on Healthcare Standards International. Today we are blessed by the presence of our chief guest, His Excellency Ahmed Al-Saidi, Honorable Minister of Health, and our special guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Member of the Indian Parliament and former Under-Secretary General of the United Nations. Also, we have with us Dr. Muhanna Nasser Al-Musalhi, Director General of DGPHE, His Excellency Shri Amit Narang, Honorable Ambassador of India to Oman, His Excellency Abdullah bin Saud Al-Unzi, Honorable Ambassador of Saudi Arabia to Oman, Sheikh Ali Al-Abri, Member of Shura Council, Honorable Managing Directors of Badr al-Samaa, Mr. Abdul Latif and Dr. P.A. Muhammad, Executive Directors Mr. Maideen Bilal and Mr. Firasat Hassan, top management of Badr al-Samaa, representation from various embassies, officials from various ministries, top management from various companies, corporate insurance companies, banks, media people, and our team from all branches of Badr al-Samaa Group. Assalamu alaikum. مساء الخير للجميع. اسمي حوراء البلوشي. أرحب بالجميع في هذه الأمسية الجميلة اللي نحتفل فيها بمرور 20 عاما مجيدا على تقديم أعلى مستوى من خدمات الرعاية الصحية من قبل أكبر مجموعة رعاية صحية خاصة في عمان، مجموعة مستشفيات بدر السماء. لقد كانت رؤية مديرين المؤسسين هي جعل خدمات الرعاية الصحية ذات الأسعار المعقولة تصل للجميع. مع بداية متواضعة في 2002 نمت بدر السماء إلى مجموعة 13 مركزاً و6 مستشفيات و7 مراكز طبية. تم اعتماد مركزي من قبل اللجنة المشتركة الدولية بالولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، و4 مستشفيات من قبل المجلس الأسترالي لمعايير الرعاية. يشرفنا اليوم حضور ضيفنا الرئيسي معالي الدكتور أحمد السعيدي وزير الصحة العماني، وضيفنا الخاص الدكتور شاشي ثارور عضو البرلمان الهندي ووكيل الأمين العام السابق للأمم المتحدة، الدكتور مهنا بن ناصر المصلحي المدير العام لشركة DGPHE، سعادة شري أميت نارنج السفير الهندي لدى عمان، سعادة عبد الله بن سعود العنزي السفير السعودي لدى عمان، الشيخ علي العبري عضو مجلس الشورى، المديرون الإداريون المحترمون لشركة بدر السماء السيد عبد اللطيف والدكتور بي أحمد، مسؤولين من مختلف السفارات ومسؤولين من الوزارات المختلفة والإدارة العليا لمختلف الشركات وشركات التأمين والبنوك وغيرهم من الإعلاميون والفريق من جميع فروع مجموعة مستشفيات بدر السماء. We will begin this event by a recitation of a few verses of the Holy Quran. Can we have Mr. Abdullah Saeed Al-Wahibi please come up on stage? راح نبدأ الاحتفال بتلاوة القرآن الكريم. تفضل معنا الأستاذ أحمد سعيد الوهيبي. شكرا لكم. Thank you everyone.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون صدق الله العظيم.
Barakallah feek. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed Saeed Al-Wahabi. Moving forward, a strong vision, hard work, and a will to achieve is required to reach the heights of success. Our Managing Director, Mr. Abdul Latif, has inspired us with this every day. He has never ceased to work effortlessly, full of his potential over the past 20 years. He is one amongst the 3 founding directors of Badr al-Samaa Group. Can we please welcome Mr. Abdul Latif to the stage to give words of inspiration and the vision behind celebrating 20 years of Badr al-Samaa Group of hospitals.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Our distinguished guest, His Excellency Dr. Ahmad Al-Saidi, Honorable Minister of Health, and Dr. Shashi Tharoorji, Honorable Member of Parliament, and Dr. Muhanna bin Nasser Al-Musallahi, Director General of Private Health Establishment, and His Excellency Sri Amit Narangji, Honorable Ambassador of India to Oman, Sheikh Ali Al-Abri, Majlis al-Shura, and His Excellency Abdullah bin Saud Al-Hanzai, he's an ambassador to Ambassador of Saudi Arabia, and my counterpart, my colleague Mr. P.A. Muhammad, and executive directors Bilal and Firasat, and all the dignitaries, and all the valuable invitee guests. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Good evening, everybody. Alhamdulillah, we got a great opportunity to serve this country for last 2 decades. First of all, I'd like to thank Almighty Allah for this great opportunity. At the same time, I'd like to express my gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Aitham bin Tariq Aflahullah Maraha and his ministry to give an opportunity to serve this country for last 20 years. On completion of this 20 year, Badr al-Samaa planned this 20th anniversary, 1 year stand alone, it is a program. 1 year is prolonging this program. There is a many CSR activities we planned, it is on the pipeline. Like His Excellency BLS, Basic Life Support Service to the common public with the support of the authorized agencies, and the continued medical education program, free medical camps, and many, many other things we planned for this 1 year, this 20th year anniversary along with that. This is the humble inaugural function of that 20th anniversary program. And we accredited with our 4 hospital accredited with the ACHSA accreditation as well. As all of you know, when we start 2002, there is only 14 doctors and around 45 total staff strength. And patient turnover per every day, 400 patients approximately. After this 20 year, now we have 13 centers across Oman and nearly 2,000 patients, 2,000 employees. Out of that 2,000 employees, I can proudly say more than 600 is the Oman nationals. And patient turnout is 11,000 per day. And we are giving the statistic to the Minister of Health every month. From 400 to 11,000 patients every day we are seeing across our center in Oman. That we believe that it is a good achievement, not a bad. Patient is our strength, and we value patients' trust always. As per Apex Media, there is a survey they made, and last year and this year also we got the most trusted brand award in the healthcare sector. Last 5 years, we are getting that award, most trusted brand award. Last 5 years, we are getting from this Apex Media. It is taken by vote and survey and all. So we value that trust. So that is our slogan for this 20th year anniversary, trust of 20th year in healthcare service. So return to that trust between the public and the patient. We are decided to go for a upgrade ourselves again and again. It is like we decided to go for ACHSA accreditation. ACHSA accreditation, it is the last 1 year process we are doing. There is a gap analysis there is many documentation preparation is there, there is a facility we have to change, many things we have to do for that. But anyhow, there is a 14 team member from Australia, the surveyor, online and offline. 1 week they are here, and they went over all 4 hospitals and they surveyed, and at the end, we received that accreditation very successfully in the first attempt. That is one of the achievements we believe that. This all made possible, not is the only myself or Mr. Mohammed, no, it is a teamwork. Especially dedicated and selfless, dedicated and selfless and hard-working, our doctors and medical and non-medical staffs and other administrative staff. It is a joint effort to bring this standard, Badr Samaa now. And we have around 10 centers out of the Oman, across the GCC. Another center also we made it in within this 20 years. And this is all possible because the main timely we got the proper guidance and advice from Ministry of Health. That is one kind of success. And various ministries, Ministry of Labor or Ministry of Commerce or any other ministry, we got a very good support and the special guidance from the Ministry of Health itself. That is, and the full support we are got it from like our partners, insurance team is there, and our bankers are there, and other corporates are there, our staff and other all social organizations. We got all the support right and left for the last 20 years. And inshallah, we are expecting in future also the similar type of what we are extend our service in the past. We are expecting more than that in future. When I received, our 2 hospitals is already accredited by JCI. When I received that JCI accreditation certificate from His Excellency Minister Ahmad Al Saidi, that time His Excellency told to me, why you only the 2 hospital, why you can't go for another 4 hospital, your whole hospital, why you can't go for the accreditation? Maybe Excellency remember, I don't remember, I don't know. That is only the inspiration, His Excellency. We went for this ACHSI accreditation. There is no mandatory, there is no pressure, nothing. But we decided to improve upgrade our quality ourselves. That is the reason, that only the inspiration we got it from His Excellency's word. We went for this ACHSI accreditation. And I'm very sure also we accept this invitation for this program because of that only. He is very keen to looking for the quality and the standard of the healthcare in this Oman. And so, His Excellency, you accept our invitation, and really we thank you for that. And your presence is highly motivated for entire Badr Samaa group. Not entire Badr Samaa group, it is motivated entire private health sector in Oman. I think now all the hospitals, maybe they will think for the another kind of accreditation and all. So I'm welcoming you for this event. Welcome, His Excellency. And at the same time, another our celebrity VIP special guest is there, Dr. Shashi Tharoor. I no need to speak about him. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you are, all of you know more than that. So I'm not taking my time waste. So when we decided for this 20th year anniversary function, then we decided there is one chief guest from India. Then we decided who is that guest. Our governing body sit and we decide. So because we are all from India, so we want one guest from India also, we decide. That guest should be the proper guest. Then our governing body decided. I told them, okay, we have to take 3 choices. Maybe all the time they are not available, so 1 second or 3rd choice should be there. Then all are told in one word. The first choice is the Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Then I ask, okay, what is the second choice also Dr. Shashi Tharoor? What is the 3rd? That also Dr. Shashi Tharoor. So there is no way, there is no question. So we decided the only Shashi Tharoor is our chief guest for this event. So it is I am the one of the big fan of the Dr. Shashi Tharoor. And when I understand that this capacity hall, we can't fill the hall. Only 70% of the hall only we can occupy. We are receiving many calls from different areas. We want one invitation, we want one invitation. But we are unable to give that invitation because there is limitation in that hall. So my humble request, one more time you have to please come. We will invite you to in the big gathering in other, because we have many demand. That is the reason. So I like to welcome you for this event, and really I appreciate you accept our invitation. Welcome, Shashi Tharoor, welcome. At the same time, I have our DG, Dr. Muhanna bin Nasser Al-Musaili. He's our Director General of Private Health Establishment. I can say that he's our direct boss, because we can't go to all the time. His Excellency Minister and the Undersecretaries and all, they are controlling this, all those things. So Dr. Muhanna is joined recently. Sir, we are expecting much more from you, from this private health sector. We are all expecting to do much more from your hand. Your expectation and your experience will be help us. And we are with you for, we will ready to obey your, whatever it is, your guidance, and we will follow. And Badr Samaa, I have much more plan to, in future, to grow. And I think my counterpart and other, they will talk more. I want to explain everything. So I'm welcoming you for this event. Welcome, Dr. Muhanna as well. And His Excellency C. Amit Narang, our ambassador. So I'm welcoming you, sir, for this, this event. Welcome, His Excellency. And I'd like to welcome His Excellency Abdullah bin Saud Al-Alanzi, Ambassador of Saudi. Welcome, His Excellency, for this event and grace this occasion. Welcome. And other representatives are from various embassies like Sri Lanka, UAE, Bangladesh, Nepal, Switzerland. All the representatives are here. I can't take the name. So I'm welcoming all of them for this event, some of this event. I'm welcoming all. And all the members I have to welcome. If I will take the name, the here who are sitting one by one, I have to take the name. I can't leave anyone. B.S. Mehtaji is there. Our Venkatachalam is there. And who is the main behind to get this Dr. Shashi Tharoor is my close friend, our member of our Legislative Assembly, Mr. P.K. Basir, MLA. is also present here. So thank you, MLA P.K. Bashir, to this event. I am welcoming you, and your support and effort to this event. It is really appreciable. I am welcoming you. And I am very sorry to take the name. It will take a long time. Everyone have to take the name because our old bankers, CEOs, and the CEOs from the Nesticare, others, all I can see in front of me. But all the name I have to take, but unfortunately I am not taking. I am telling in one word, welcome to all of you in this event. Inshallah, we are expecting your cooperation and the support in future also. Inshallah, wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you for these inspiring words, Mr. Abdul Latif, Managing Director of Badr Samaa Group of Hospitals. May I kindly remind everyone that Mr. Abdul Latif is one of the founding directors of Badr Samaa Group, so he's been there all along throughout the whole journey over the past 20 years. Moving on, Mr. P.A. Mohammed, Managing Director of Badr Samaa Group as well. He has played a key role in the success of the group. His vision and positive attitude, coupled with his desire to serve the community, has been the motivation behind the exceptional expansion of the group. And he had made it possible for the group to reach every doorstep with healthcare of good quality and affordable prices. May I please welcome Dr. P.A. Mohammed to the stage.
His Excellency Dr. Ahmad Sahidi, Honorable Minister of Health, Special Guest Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Honorable Member of Indian Parliament, Dr. Mohanna bin Nasir, Director General of Private Healthcare Establishment, His Excellency Shri Amit Narang, Honorable Ambassador of India, and Honorable Saudi Ambassador Abdullah Al-Alawi, and Sheikh Ali Al-Abri, Member of Shura Council. My colleague and partner, Mr. Abdul Latif, our executive directors, Firasat and Bilal, our doctors, nurses, and all staff of Badr Samaa Group of Hospitals. Very good evening and Assalamu Alaikum. Today, we are celebrating 20th anniversary of Badr Samaa Group of Hospitals in Oman, and I welcome to all of you to be a part of this glorious day, which marks the trust which the people of this beautiful country has shown in us. We dedicated this achievement to this nation, and the people who have put their faith in us during this momentous journey of 20 years. Our dream of taking affordable, accessible, and available healthcare to every part of Oman has come true. Today, we are a group of 6 hospitals and 7 medical centers in Oman. My colleague has told you 2,000 people are working in our group, including 500 doctors and 600 Omani staff. And we don't cease to expand our boundaries. Not just physical expansion, we believe in introducing advanced technologies, experienced and well-qualified staff, and governing the healthcare operations with the international accreditation. I am glad to share with you that this month we received prestigious SEHSI Australian accreditations for our 4 branches. Remaining, our two hospitals were already received accreditation by JCI USA, thus making us the only healthcare group having the highest number of accreditations in Oman. The theme of this 20 years celebration is based on trust and care. The trust which the people have shown in us for 2 decades, and the quality of care with which we have complemented that trust. Our main aim is to build trust and maintain it with ethical and quality healthcare practices. And thanks to the Almighty, we have been successful in doing well. Along with our patients, various ministries, government bodies, corporates, and companies, social organizations, and media, and many more have supporting us to make this possible for us. COVID-19 pandemic was a testing time for all of us. Being the largest healthcare provider in Oman in the private healthcare sector, our share of the responsibilities was bigger. We were thankful to the Ministry of Health for showing the confidence in us for the services of the nation. PCR tests and COVID treatment and vaccinations. Our contributions with the support of Ministry of Health and our dedicated staff was high in the private healthcare sector. We are always ready to be shoulder to shoulder with the Ministry of Health and various other ministries for projects of national importance. Today, we wish to reassure you of your trust in us. Badr Samaa will be adding value to the community by way of reaching out to the deserving with introduction of new centers, manpower, medical programs, and technologies and quality initiatives. Because we believe each person in this country deserves the best, our long-term vision is to make our territory level services available in Oman. That most of the people won't have to travel outside countries for the treatment by spending a lot of money and time. I would like to thanks to each one of you for joining with us in these celebrations. I would like to thanks our patients, and I would like to thanks to our all Omanis patients. Thank you. Thank you all of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. P.A. Mohammed, for these inspiring words. The journey of Badr Al Samaa Group of Hospitals has been both challenging and exceptional. With the trust of its patients and the dedication of the workforce, both clinical and non-clinical, Badr Al Samaa Group of Hospitals has risen to the heights of becoming the largest private healthcare provider in Oman. With one small clinic in 2002, Badr Al Samaa is now present in 5 countries. 5 different countries with 21 centers. We would like to take you through this incredible journey with a timeline video. Good evening, everyone. A special logo which speaks about the momentous journey that we just seen of Badr al-Samaa Group of Hospitals was created to mark this special occasion, and we are very happy to unveil the 20-year Badr al-Samaa logo. And to do this, may we request that His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi come up to the stage, please. Dr. Shashi Thiroor as well, Dr. Muhanna Nasser Musalhi, His Excellency Shri Amit Narung, His Excellency Abdullah bin Saud Al-Unzi, and Executive Directors of Badr al-Samaa Group, Senior Management, and Group Directors of Badr al-Samaa. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi, please press the button on the remote to unveil the logo of the Badr al-Samaa 20-year logo. Thank you, everyone. Next, I'd kindly like to ask Dr. Shashi Thiroor to present the 20-year Badr al-Samaa logo to the Managing Director of Badr al-Samaa Group, both Mr. Abdul Latif and Dr. P.A. Muhammad. Ask that everyone to please stay back on stage for the next facilitations. We are very happy to announce that 4 of our hospitals have recently been accredited by the Australian Council on Healthcare Standards International. Those 4 hospitals are the Barka branch, the Suhar branch, Nizwa, and Salala. They recently received the prestigious Australian Council on Healthcare Standards International accreditation. And for that, we would like to ask Mr. Basil Al-Sayiq, the Regional Director of Middle East for ACHSI, to please come on stage for the handover ceremony. Also, I'd kindly like to ask Mr. B.K. Bashir to also come on stage as well.
Mr. P.A. Bashir, sir. Mr. Zakab Omi. Mr. Zakab Omi. I would like to request Mr. Jacob Omin, if he's here, to please be on the stage.
For this handover ceremony, I'd like to request His Excellency Ahmed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, to be present. And in the form of Mr. Basil Al-Sayiq will hand over the group certification to Honorable Minister of Health, and then he would then hand it over the group certification to the Managing Directors of Badr Samaa Group and COO. May present the hospital accreditations to His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Saidi, who may then present it to the teams of 4 hospital and managing directors and senior management of the Barka branch. May we have the branch head, medical director and nursing director and quality manager of the Sahar branch up on stage, please. Mr. Basil Al-Sayiq will present the hospital accreditation to His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, who will then present it to the managing directors and senior management of Badr Samaa and the branch head, medical director and nursing director and quality manager of the branch. May I have the Nizwa branch staff to the stage, please. The branch head, the medical director, the nursing director, and quality manager of the Nizwa branch. Staff up on stage. Branch head, medical director, nursing director, and quality manager. Everyone may resume to their seats except for Dr. Shashi Tarur. He has a few words to share, but before he does, I'd like to introduce him. Dr. Shashi Tarur He's an author, a politician, a former international civil servant. Shashi Tarur straddles several worlds of experience. He's currently a 3rd Lok Sabha MP representing the Trivandrum constituency and chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information Technology. He has previously served as the Minister of State for Human Resource Development and the Minister of State for External Affairs in the Government of India. And during his longer than 3 decades career in the United Nations, he served as a peacemaker, he served as a refugee worker, and he served as an administrator at the highest levels, serving as Under Secretary General during the Kofi Annan leadership in the organization. Dr. Tharoor is also an award-winning author of works of both fiction and non-fiction books. Please welcome Dr. Shashi Tharoor to the stage.
Your Excellency, Dr. Ahmed Al Saidi, Honorable Minister of Health, Mr. Abdul Latif, Managing Director of Badr Al Samaa, and of course his fellow Managing Director, Dr. P.A. Muhammad, my good friend, Ambassador Amit Narang of India, other distinguished diplomats, guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a cliche, but it genuinely is a pleasure to join you this evening for the celebrations of the 20th anniversary of the Badr Al Samaa group of hospitals, which has enjoyed a meteoric rise in these 2 decades, as we just saw in the video, from its genesis with its first small polyclinic to its position today as the largest private healthcare group in the Sultanate of Oman. I'm told that today the group has expanded to include over 20 centers, boasting of over 400 doctors and 2,000 allied medical staff who have provided quality healthcare to over 30 million patients across Oman, the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate not just the 2 directors, but the entire leadership team and each member of this group for achieving such remarkable results in such a short span of time, a testament to your common commitment to providing an invaluable humanitarian service to this society and to the world in general. As an Indian MP, I'm always heartened to see the role played not just by Indian management professionals, the ones I've congratulated, but of course by Indian doctors and nurses, who have acquired a worldwide reputation for dedication and professional excellence. You have merged your talents and commitments with the resources and capabilities of Oman, and of course of its leadership exemplified by the Health Minister here today, to produce such impressive results so rapidly. I've always believed that this ability of our expatriates, especially, if I may be allowed to be parochial, my fellow Malayalis, to embrace the culture and environment of a foreign land, to help build up local communities, and ultimately to thrive in global enterprises, is a strong testament to your remarkable fortitude, resilience, and sense of purpose. To my fellow Indian citizens present in this room, as I've consistently argued, you're not just NRIs in the official definition of non-resident Indians, but through your impressive achievements, you've made all of us back home proud to recognize all of you as a different kind of NRI, the National Reserve of India. Now, the organizers have asked me to share with you my observations on the global healthcare system, but I'm conscious that my audience today is already far more knowledgeable than me on this very topic. It's like being the hydrologist who was invited to deliver a speech on flooding and discovered Noah sitting in the audience. It's the same sort of problem with all these doctors, nurses, healthcare experts, and the Honorable Minister of Health right there in the front. I don't think I should do that. Let me instead offer you a few general observations on urgent reforms that are needed in public healthcare from my personal perspective, principally as an Indian lawmaker. Let me first begin by pointing out there's a global opportunity and perhaps a fresh new drive even when it comes to management. Through the trials and challenges that have manifested themselves during the pandemic, the unquantifiable pain and losses that we've all at some level faced as individuals, families, and communities, the COVID-19 pandemic has offered a sobering reminder to all of us of the fragility of our own humanity and the importance of securing our personal health. Even as we slowly begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel, in fact, the minister and I were discussing before we began this evening whether perhaps the Omicron virus might turn out to be the vaccine the whole world has been waiting for, distributed to all around the world without the kind of biases and problems imbalances we have seen in the other vaccines that have been distributed. So if that happens, and we all hope that this dark chapter in our collective histories is ending and that we can turn the page on this pandemic, there is an unsaid commitment that all of us have made to shore up the defenses of the communities we live in and to develop an environment that safeguards our health against such threats in future. Increased spending on healthcare is one sign of this. Now, while estimates vary, projections from the Brookings Institution have suggested that the world may be looking at a $4.4 trillion increase in global spending on public health care, especially amongst developing countries. The developed ones are perhaps already spending up to their full extent because they're developed and they can afford to do that. But for the rest of us, we know that it's a matter of life and death and we need to spend more. And therefore, public health care alone is likely to increase to cause a 7% increase in global GDP by 2040. So while this is a welcome development, though not altogether surprising, there were smaller versions of this in the aftermath of the SARS outbreak, the Ebola outbreak. I'd argue that increasing this public health spending must really focus on two areas principally. One, the expansion of healthcare infrastructure, and two, the ability of ordinary people to actively access quality healthcare. If we look at expansion, well, in seeing all the Indians in the audience today, especially doctors and medical support staff, I am sorry to say reminded of the rather sobering situation back at home, where we have a doctor-to-patient ratio of almost 1 to 2,000, which is unfortunately only half of what the WHO recommends of one doctor to every 1,000 people. So we clearly do not have enough doctors, and in some ways, a painful reminder of this has happened during the current Ukraine crisis, where you've all seen on television the plight of some 23,000 Indian medical students in Ukraine. And I think it's reflective of the fact that there are simply not enough seats available in India for the demand, and that's why so many of our students have to go out and pursue medical studies in countries like Ukraine, Georgia, China, and Kazakhstan, all of which are places where I found our medical students were during the COVID pandemic, and we had to bring them back. Now, in India, every year, around 55,000 doctors and 25,000 postgraduate specialists emerge from our medical schools clutching their degrees. This patient ratio struggled to respond to the drastic influx of patients during the pandemic. Now, you could counter-argue this was a unique challenge, but let's not forget that the World Health Organization estimates a staggering global shortage of 12 million healthcare workers around the globe by 2035. And that situation cannot be ignored. Unless we have a dramatic increase in education of medical and healthcare workers, there will be a global shortage of as many as 12 million people. Now, in order for us to arrest this development, especially the limited presence of doctors in the public healthcare systems of many countries, we need to improve both the conditions and incentives for our doctors to pursue their career within public health systems. It's all very well to ask doctors to recognize, as I often do when I address convocations of medical colleges, that healthcare is not just a career but a calling, that there is a mission, not a profession. Conditions of service that will allow in 1958, there are 2 hospitals and a doctor-to-patient ratio of 1 to 50,000. Not 1 to 1,000, which I'm complaining about in India, but, 1 to 2,000 as in India, but 1 to 50,000. But thanks to the visionary leadership of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos and leaders like, indeed, His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi and his predecessors as Ministers of Health, you now have an impressive doctor-to-patient ratio of 2.1 to 1,000, which is closer to the US than to India. And these doctors are supported by 4.5 nurses per 1,000, working in a healthcare ecosystem where over 95% of the population now lives within 5 kilometers of a good primary healthcare center. Now, that's something that very few developing countries actually have. Now, to turn to the challenge of access, in addition to quality and the presence of qualified personnel, the second challenge that many countries across the world have to work to address is that of access, especially to public health care. To go back to the Indian case study, the brunt of expenditure falls on ordinary men and women everywhere. Between 70 and 80% of India's healthcare costs are borne out of pocket. There's no insurance covering them. Medical bills alone have plunged nearly 40 million people into poverty. 40 million people who are living above the poverty line have dropped below it when they fall grievously ill, especially when the breadwinner falls ill. Unpredictable health expenditure has driven 363 millions already living below the poverty line into a dark abyss, particularly, as I said, when the family's main and often only breadwinner is afflicted by serious illness. 47% of admissions into hospitals in rural India and 31% of admissions in urban India are actually financed by loans or the sale of essential assets, including the home in which they live. The poor have to give away everything they possess in order to afford health care. And most of our people live just one illness away from destitution. Now, that's true in many, many developing countries, but India is the country I know best, so I give you figures from there. Now, as a public policy issue, I'm not at all critical. In fact, I welcome the fact that our more affluent or well-insured citizens can reach efficient private hospitals and that can even afford to have the latest technology. But I can't forget about the millions who are forced to rely on less well-equipped government hospitals or cheaper private hospitals and clinics. As a lawmaker, I support the need to allow private entities to participate in the healthcare system. But at the same time, as I've often argued, the joys of care and the accessibility and affordability of healthcare, Cuba has a life expectancy rate of 78, similar to the US, but spends times at 9,000. A political leadership committed to healthcare, innovative approach and it's a success story. Now, I'm not an admirer of the Cuban system necessarily, but on public health, they've shown us one way of solving the problem. Of course, our governance structure, the governance structure in Oman and many other countries is different. No one can replicate what each country does. But what it suggests to me is that an alliance between the state and private providers of health are in the best interests of the citizen. Access that Cuba guarantees, while we pursue it in the systems that we have, could involve precisely what we're seeing with Badr al-Simaa's success. That is, that you have a private hospital working closely in tandem with the public health system and with the blessings and encouragement and even the patronage of the government. In a developing country like India, public-private collaboration would help bridge massive enduring gaps, especially given the increasing interest shown by foreign institutions in setting up world-class medical education in India. Nursing schools, medical colleges, specialist training, and so on, to train healthcare workers that everyone needs. So, a mutual understanding of the economics of healthcare, where patients' interests as well as providers' bottom lines are taken into account, should enable a fairer system to be put in place, prevent unethical profiteering, but not stifle productivity, innovation, and the capacity to expand and import the best technology. How we get there is another challenge, but with the right leadership, all challenges can be suitably navigated. Now, globalization has shrunk distances, sparked innovation, and indeed the exchange of ideas. It's lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty, want, and deprivation. But there's still a long way to go, and unless we keep the moral end of progress before our eyes, we will end up serving no larger purpose than the narrow interests of profit. Profit is not a dirty word because it finances the innovations and the new techniques that you folks are here in Muscat to celebrate and to talk about. But it must not be pursued at the cost of the moral purpose of your profession, which is ultimately about saving lives. There's little point in saving the life of a man you have bankrupted in the process, and even less so if he didn't have a bank account to begin with. That's the basic level at which many poor countries in the globalized world are debating the issues I've described to you today, using, of course, principally the Indian example, but I hope that's relevant to many of you here in Oman. So at the end of the day, what I'm calling for is not just compassion, it's solidarity with your fellow human beings. As we see the headlines coming out of Ukraine today, as we see fellow human beings in distress, solidarity is something that every one of us feels, and particularly as we see the plight of people helplessly trying to shelter from bombs, missiles, sometimes with food and water unavailable. It reminds me of an old Indian story from the Puranas. It's a typical ancient Indian story of a sage and his disciples, and the sage one day says, so tell me, when does the night end? And one of the disciples says, at dawn, of course. And the sage says, I know that, but when does the night end and the dawn begin? So the first disciple, who's probably from the southern part of the country where so many of you are from, immediately says, oh, I know, it's when the first streaks of sunlight glint of the palm fronds on the coconut trees swaying in the breeze above the paddy fields. That is when the night ends and the dawn begins. The sage says, no, my son. So he turns to the other disciple, who's perhaps from the snowy north, and he says, oh, I think it's when the first shafts of sunlight glint off the snow and ice on the mountaintops of the Himalayas, and you can see the light sparkling off against the sky. That is when the night ends and the dawn begins. But the sage says, no, my sons. He says, it is when two people from the opposite ends of our vast country come together, meet, embrace each other as brothers, realizing they sleep under the same sky, see the same stars, and dream the same dreams. That is when the night ends and the dawn begins. The world has seen many a dark night in the last century or so. I think through your hard work in public healthcare and all the attempts that you want to achieve a better world, I hope that you will ensure a brighter dawn for the people of Oman and indeed for the world in the years to come. Thank you very much and all the best. Mabruk. I was told that some people had a couple of questions. Is that right? Please.
Thank you, Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Your speech was truly a feast to our ears, and we all got enlightened and inspired by the richness of your words. They were truly exceptional, so thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now it is time for the much-awaited interactive session with Dr. Shashi Tharoor. He'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Will our volunteers please pass
Am I audible? No. On, eh? Yeah, okay, fine. Well, this can be a very short session if no one wants to ask a question. Or is everyone unwilling to ask the first question?
We have a question over there. Can someone please pass him a mic, please?
Good evening, Dr. Tharoor. First of all, for the Badr Samaa team, congratulations for your 20-year celebration. Dr. Tharoor, big fan of you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Tharoor, I just want to have a question, not related to the healthcare sector. Why don't we have a permanent ministers, not from an individual party, the people who are, what do I say, they are capable to handle some ministries. Let it be from any party, be it BJP, be it Congress, be it any party, people like you who are very capable of handling many more things, not a particular party. So there should be some provision or something which should come out from the all-party meetings that these are the permanent people who are representing the people of India.
I understand your sentiment, and I sometimes hear this from other people as well, but in our parliamentary system, it doesn't work that way. Once one party or one alliance has won an election, the others go into opposition, and the government is only formed out of those on the winning side. So it becomes a problem, and even if, for example, what you're suggesting was offered by the Prime Minister, any person from the opposition accepting such a position would immediately be disowned by his own party, and under the anti-defection law would even be expelled from Parliament. So it doesn't work. I understand your feelings, and many in India feel that it would be good if we could work across the political divide But you know, the idea of forming a national government of all parties has never been explored in India, and as long as we remain in opposition, I'm afraid we will have no chance to do what you're suggesting.
No, not all parties. Like how we have IAS officers, they remain the same if the party changes. So
But that's the difference between the IAS officers and the politicians, right?
True. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Tharoor. My name is Sajid Nair. I am from your constituency, Thiruvananthapuram. Very privileged
sorry,
to have you.
you're?
I am from Trivandrum, from your constituency. Very privileged to have you.
Oh, good to see you. Thank you.
Actually, you have been a man who is versatile enough to handle so many things in your life, right from a diplomat and a scholar, a writer, everything actually. And currently, you are just serving the people also. We would like to know that, which role of yours you have been enjoying too much. I'm sure that, it's a question which many people would ask you, but would like to hear from the horse's mouth. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the truth is that I'm a human being with a number of responses to the world, some of which I manifest through my professional work, and some of which I manifest through my writing and my speaking. But it's still the same person. So the set of concerns, issues, ideas, and values that are in me, that are in my mind, that have come through my reflection, my reading, my thinking, those are essentially things that I show either through my work in government and parliament and the UN before that, or that I show through my writing and through the exercise of my imagination and my point of view. So it's simply who I am. And I think I couldn't, in all fairness, choose any one aspect, because then a part of my psyche would wither away. I am all of those things, and I try to be all of those things. I recognize that, however, with the passage of time, you become very, very conscious that there is no doubt that the positions are transient and will not last. I'm already a former minister. One day I'll be a former MP, but I hope never to be a former writer. So in that sense, I hope the writing will be the one thing that I will be remembered for when the time comes.
Dr. Tharoor, good evening. Welcome to Oman. It's a pleasure to have you here. Dr. Tharoor, you inspire...
goodbye to me. I'm leaving in 15 minutes for the airport.
Okay. Dr. Tharoor, you inspire many. What inspires you and who inspires you the most?
Well, I think in practice, part of this kind of motivation to do anything has to come from within. To that degree, the motivation to make a difference has always been there since my childhood. It must have been partially instilled on me by the example of my own parents, who were hard-driving, hard-working people, sincere, committed, and always anxious to extend themselves, and not just at work, but to the community. My father was very active in a number of social causes, and that desire to extend themselves and make an impact on others must have itself automatically communicated itself to me. Beyond that, I think growing up in India at the time that I did, there were a lot of figures of inspiration to learn about, to read about, and to follow the example of, whether it's some of our great political leaders like Prime Minister Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi himself, whether it was actually role models in other domains, outstanding cricketers, outstanding actors, and so on. There are many ways in which we could see excellence around us and strive to be like that. But ultimately, let me say to you, every one of us does not need an external inspiration. I genuinely believe that the best thing we can ask of ourselves, each of you, is to be the best you that you can possibly be. Nobody else can be you. You are who you are. Reach into yourself, find out what you are capable of, and don't let yourself down. Fulfill everything that you are capable of doing, and the world will be a better place. You can inspire yourself that way. Thank you all very much.
Good evening, Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Our question is very simple from all of us here in Journalist. We had a few minutes before the event with you, and I understand you've been to the Sultanate of Oman 5 to 7 times, and each time it's official. And you've done your research on the health sector. I'm sure you've read more about Oman's history and the places. The next time, or if not now, which place would you like to explore in Oman, and which area would it be? Is it heritage, culture, or tourism?
Well, I was just talking to the minister about that. I would love to go to Salalah, because all my 6 or 7 visits have been in Muscat, and Muscat's beautiful, and I love the old fort, and I love the scene here, and of course the evident glowing development and prosperity of the capital is remarkable. But I would love to know what that ancient city of Salala is like, and that marvelous story of the Kerala king, Cheruman Perumal, coming to visit the Prophet during his lifetime and planting coconut trees on the coastline, which are not native to this peninsula. And therefore, it's a direct story of the connection between India, and my part of India, and Oman. So I would love to go and see that with my own eyes one day.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Tharoor. Good evening, Dr. Tharoor. I am Shiva here. My question to you is like, there is a new world order which is setting in with the developments in Ukraine. So what's your opinion, how this will affect the globalized world, and what will be the impact on Indian economy and Indian business outside India?
Right. I'm not sure it's a new world order. I think it's a new world disorder we are seeing, which is the title of a book I wrote last year. I would say that if you look very seriously at the short-term impact, it's going to be devastatingly negative for some. For Oman, I think the news is better because oil prices today are at $114, whereas for a country like India, we just passed a budget last month in which the minister announced that her figure for assumptions was $75 a barrel. You can see we're $40 short, and we're going to be absolutely, all our budget numbers are going to go for a toss, all the projections are going to go. Short-term, world trade will be affected, world exports certainly, and of course, financial markets have already shown the impact in the short term. In the longer term, everything depends on how long the conflict lasts. Many people hope that it will be swift and over very quickly, and the Russians can declare victory and withdraw, or that some sort of peace can be negotiated. But at the moment, we don't know how that's going to be. There are talks going on, I understand, at some level between the current president of Ukraine and the Russians. If those talks result in a peace settlement, maybe we will have a different outcome. But all I can tell you right now is that the short-term damage is bad. In the long term, I think the biggest sufferers will be the Russians because of the perception that they have violated the laws of the international community. There are some principles we have always respected. In India, certainly, we've upheld them. Sovereignty of states, inviolability of borders, the inadmissibility of using force to resolve your political disputes. And Russia has tossed all those aside. So while many in India would say that Russia has very legitimate security interests to uphold, the way in which they have chosen to uphold them is seen by many as a violation of international law, and that will certainly have a long-term negative consequence for the way in which Russia is received by the rest of the world. And I think we'll have to see how that works out. For our country in India, as you know, we've had the benefit of the US coming and paying more attention to East Asia, the Indo-Pacific, the Quad, and so on. Will they now take their eyes back to Europe because of the Russian misadventure? And will they lose focus on the challenges manifested by China in our region? These are questions that, again, we will have to watch very carefully in the months ahead. So for me, it's not a good news in any way. I just hope that for a country like Oman, at least, there will be the silver lining, that prosperity and a revival of the economy will follow from this misadventure. But for many of us who are not oil producers, the news is pretty negative.
Good evening, sir.
Forgive me, sorry.
I am Dr. Bashir from Badr, Samaa. So,
go ahead. We can hear you. And
yeah, you can hear.
Yeah, forgive me, sorry, sir. Give me a second. Forgive me for interrupting this interactive session. We only have time for one more question since Dr. Shisha Tharoor has to catch a flight to India. So please go ahead, but this will be our last question. Thank you.
Yeah. Because as you said about Indian scenario of health sector, and it's not a good news in many ways. But fortunately, we both belong to one state, which is a role model for the rest of the India. So what's your take and view on Kerala model of health?
It's excellent. I mean, it's something that's been built up over, some would say not just many decades, but even over a century. In my part, the part I represent in Parliament, which is the old princely state of Travancore, Thiruvananthapuram, the Maharajas set up some of the first public healthcare facilities and government hospitals going back to the 19th century. So there is a good tradition in Kerala. It's augmented by the fact that our culture has never disregarded nursing, for example, as an unclean profession. A lot of people proudly study nursing. A lot of people, so our doctor-patient ratio is much higher than the Indian average. I gave the figure for India, but the Kerala figure is very much better. It's about the same as the United States. We have a tremendous amount of efficiency in the execution of healthcare projects and a lot of community involvement. The manner in which Kerala has faced down the Nipah virus, followed by the COVID pandemic, has been exemplary, and in many cases we avoided some of the problems that other parts of India suffered from. There was never an oxygen shortage. Nobody died for lack of a hospital bed or oxygen in the hospital beds. So while there have been tragedies, we are not immune from COVID or anything else. We have a system that works. And many say it will be very difficult to replicate that elsewhere because it was built up over many, many decades and by all political parties. Healthcare, fortunately, has not been politicized. Communist governments, Congress-led governments, UDF, LDF, etc., everyone has done their part to strengthen and run the healthcare system efficiently. So I'm very proud of it. And certainly it is a role model, as you rightly say, for the rest of India.
Thank you, Dr.
That's why it's
Shasi.
no accident that we have Keralites running the Badr and Samaa system here.
Thank you, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, for this wonderful interactive session. All of us were enriched to hear you. Now it's time to introduce His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi, Honorable Minister of Health. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi is a man behind the advanced and success of the exceptional healthcare system of the Sultanate of Oman. He is a long-standing Minister of Health who has led both government and private healthcare sectors equally. I'm going to go a bit off script, but I'm going to talk about an experience I've had. During the global pandemic, His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al-Saidi used to host weekly press conferences for the people. So on a weekly basis, he would sit there and he would address the nation's concern. He would answer the people's question. And I haven't seen that much dedication from any health minister in the world. So we the Omani residents and citizens highly appreciate that from you, the dedication. Thank you, Your Excellency. Can you please come up and give a speech, please? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Abdul Latif and his team, I'm delighted and happy and proud to be with you this evening celebrating your 20th anniversary and also the accreditation that you've received to 4 of your hospitals from Australia. I think it will be extremely impossible and difficult to follow a speech after His In Oman, luckily, because of our surveillance system, because of our well-established primary healthcare system and public health, I think the impact was not as severe as it could have been. Our It's not been an easy ride, and over the last 2 years, I think Dr. Mhanna will agree that we reached 538 patients in ICU only for COVID, not for all ICU cases. That's across the country, but mainly the government. So the expansion we worked as one unit.
and precise treatment, which takes care of all worries and apprehensions of our patients. They regain health quicker and gain confidence in no time. In any given situation, we pledge our commitment to our patients. Their heartbeats are echoed, sensed, and addressed in our system of treatment instantaneously. Our care knows no bounds. Badr al-Samaa, a lifelong
Now it is time to call upon Dr. Muhanna bin Nasser Al-Musalhi, Director General of DGPHE, to please come on stage. We congratulate him to be recently appointed as Director General of DGPHE. We are very sure that with your experience and vision,
to go to the dinner. I'll just be brief. We are missing His Excellency the Minister, and I was given the difficult task to speak after two ministers. First of all, I am really honored, and it is my pleasure to be here today to recognize and celebrate the accreditation of 4 hospitals. The first time I came across accreditation was 19 years ago during my training in Australia. And at that time, I get to know that every single hospital in Australia, whether it's private or government, have to be accredited. Otherwise, it will not be funded, and the insurance company will not fund it. Later on, in 2011, when I returned back from Australia, I have gone through the ISO 151. Need that, you have enough certificates. It convince the people and to grow through that lengthy process and to be accredited. The same people who were resisting accreditation, they themselves came later and asked us to get re-accredited because they have seen the impact of accreditation on the clinical and laboratory work. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you have done a tremendous work to accredit 4 hospitals. I have an experience of accrediting Royal Hospital with Canadian accreditation. It was a tough time. It was a difficult time, and it means moving people from their comfort zone. It's not an easy process to accredit hospitals. It's a comprehensive, you have to go thoroughly through all the process. I am really impressed about the achievement of Badr Samaa to accredit 4 hospitals in the last 2 years and to accredit 6 hospitals in the last 7 years. Congratulations, great work. In Oman, I think the government need to move toward establishment of a national accreditation body, an independent body from the Ministry of Health, a governmental body which should accredit both governmental as well as private health institutes. And none of those hospitals should be funded by the government, neither by the insurance company unless they are accredited. Before I finish my speech, I would like to ask Mr. Abdul Latif and his team to move forward to accredit other clinics, especially visa medical laboratories and laboratories. Here in Oman, we have around 300 laboratories, and I think we need to improve the quality of laboratories in Oman. And I would suggest to the team here to introduce ISO 15189 for laboratories. Once again, this is not possible to be achieved without a teamwork. I congratulate the whole team of Badr Samaa. Well done for this achievement. And please remember, accreditation means it's only the first chapter of the story. It is not the full chapter. Still a lot to go. I wish you all the best and thank you very much for invitation.
thank you for your inspiring words, Dr. Muhanna bin Nasser Al-Musalhi. We have with us the new generation of leaderships of Badr al-Samaa Group of Hospitals, the executive directors of Badr al-Samaa, Mr. Firasas Hassan and Mr. Moideen
two of our valuable guests, they have already left because they have organizations, our beloved directors, my dear doctors, staff, and my dear friends, Assalamu alaikum, and good evening to one and all. So before I commence, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq and late His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said Al Said for allowing us to be in this blessed land for past 2 decades. So as we all know that we are celebrating the 20th year anniversary of trust and care, and we are pleased that we have been able to reach this milestone, and we are looking forward to achieve many more new heights. So it is the trust and the confidence of people of Oman which helped us from a humble beginning as a polyclinic in 2002 to become the largest private healthcare group of Oman, and we thank the residents of Oman for trusting our institution. We also thank our insurance providers of Oman and our corporate clients and all other customers. They all have a immense contribution to the successful of Badr Samaa and our existence in this journey, and we thank you very much for this. So recently, Badr Samaa, 4 of our units have been accredited with the Australian Council on Health Standards, and which is external review of quality of care and services. Apart from this, 2 of our hospitals have already been accredited with the Joint Commission International USA, thus making Badr Samaa the only group in the private healthcare sector with the highest number of accreditation, and whose all hospitals have a quality accreditation. So all this made possible with the support of our dedicated team of doctors and staff, and I would like to appreciate and thank them for their professional approach involved in this accreditation process. And this team was headed by our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Jacob Oman. I don't know if he's here or not, but I personally thank you, Mr. Jacob, for taking up this challenge and for your leadership. And as you all know that our parents, they are the founder of this group, and this is one of their successful initiative, and we take pride in stating that they are doing the best of their times by ensuring optimum advantage of technology and development. Kudos to our fathers, and we, the second generation, we are working with them. And we are working with them aiming to run this organization forward. And we request everyone's support. This is not only to my staff, to each and everyone who have gathered here, to the ministry officials and all the people gathered here. Thank you so much, and I'm wishing you a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Mr. Moideen Bilal. Now I would like to call upon our last speaker of the night, Mr. Firas Hassan, to please come on stage and say a few words. Thank you, Mr. Firas Hassan.
To the presence of Honorable Minister of Health, His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Al Saidi, Honorable Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Member of Indian Parliament, respected guests from various embassies and government officials, respected DG, Dr. Mohanna bin Nasir, notable guests from corporates, public and media, esteemed Board of Directors and family members of Badr and Samaa. Good evening and warm greetings to all distinguished guests present over here. Tonight, we are celebrating our 20th anniversary, and we cherish and we value you all who are sharing this We are aware of the fact that without public support, we would not have attained this growth. We have expanded our organization to this extent that we are celebrating 20 years of its commitment, trust, and care. Over the last 20 years of Badr Samaa has undergone many changes that include expansion of our network across the Middle East and upgradation of many facilities. And we have become stronger and efficient ever before. Our staff, who were and who are, always be our assets and have always stood by our side. We have been blessed with good team of doctors and dedicated staff. On this auspicious day, I promise all my employees to be supportive to them as we have been in these past years. Let's look forward many more amazing years with strong professional relationship even further and to take Badr Samaa into next level. As we all took time to express gratitude and to celebrate these fantastic 20 years gone, let's turn eagerly to the years that lie ahead. Let's make this day a treat for yourself and society, a reservoir of energy for the coming days so that we don't stop here, we go on for many years. Many more anniversaries, many more success stories, many more achievements are yet to come our way. On this special day, I would like to commit my team that I take the responsibility in maintaining the patient care and trust as priority. To continue healthy relationship with public, corporate, medical fraternities and government bodies, and also ensuring to take up our organization into next possible level. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this event. We are grateful to you for taking your time out from your busy schedule and making our 20th anniversary more memorable. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you so much for your words, Mr. Firas Hassan. I would like to request Dr. Mhanna bin Nasser Al-Masalhi, Director General of DGPHE, to please come on stage to receive the memento. To give the memento, I request that our managing directors come on stage as well, Mr. Abdul Latif and Dr. P.A. Mohammed. Please come on stage. Good evening, everyone. We have come to the end of this beautiful event. Thank you for celebrating with us. I would like Marketing Officer to please extend the word of thanks to our guest tonight. Please come to stage.
Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul, so I deem it as an honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Badr Samaa Group. Most of the excellencies left due to various reasons. However, all excellencies present here, other dignitaries, honorable board of directors, members of Badr Samaa family, ladies and gentlemen. The whole family of Badr Samaa has worked as a team to fulfill the visionary dream of board of directors to reach out to everyone in the Sultanate with quality health care. It has become true over the past many years. In our quest for the zenith, our progress will never cease, and we will be adding more value in our communities we serve in the years to come. We extend our gratitude to late His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said, the great visionary and determined ruler who transformed Oman into a modern and vibrant state with a powerful and balanced socio-economic base and political stability. We extend gratitude to the leader of the country, His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, for continuing the legacy of serving the citizens and residents and doing exceptional work and ensuring progress and prosperity in all region and governorate across the Sultanate. I am especially honored to express our appreciation and thanks to His Excellency Dr. Ahmad Al Saidi, Minister of Health Oman, for his inspirational words. His enormous support in containing the pandemic is really commendable. And thank you for being part of this special day. We are grateful to him for taking his time out from his busy schedule and help us making our 20th anniversary. For such a wonderful speech on overall healthcare industry. Thank him for that excellent presentation. The people of Oman will remember him for his scholarly lecture that he delivered here in Sheraton, Muscat. Recalling his speeches are highly gratifying. I have listened to many of his speeches and I still recollect his speech delivered in Boston, correlating late Princess death with globalization. Who other than him would assume in an analogy between the incomparable entities? Times apparently poles apart, yet so closely interwoven into perfection with his play of thoughts. His ardent research in 30 seconds mentioned 15 names and brands in the same speech. It is said that leaders with the energy can motivate and encourage people, but leaders with charisma can inspire many. As an epitome of charisma, Dr. Tharoor has inspired many across the globe. Once again, I thank him for accepting our invitation and for his inspiring words. Our gratitude to Dr. Mohanna bin Nasser Al Muslahi, Director General, Ministry of Health, for your kind words and presence. Your support and coordination from your office and your guidance will always thrive us to establish our footprints across the Sultanate. My special thanks to the Indian Ambassador, His Excellency Amit Narang, Saudi Ambassador, His Excellency Abdullah Al-Alawi, and all other delegates from various embassies, Mr. Basil, Regional Director, ACHSI, delegates from our corporate partners, insurance partners, and members of the media for your gracious presence. My gratitude to various previous DG Dr. Masin Al-Kaburi, Dr. Badr Al-Jabri, all previous DGs, Sheikh Al-Abri, member of Shura Council, dignitaries from hospitals, establishment, officials from different sports bodies, and members of social organization for a valuable presence. Economic performance is not only the responsibility of a business. Every organization must assume the responsibility for its impact on employees and its stakeholders, whomever and whatsoever it touches. That is social responsibility. Our honorable board directors have always been at the bottom of increasing the texture of our commitment in providing quality health care. Hence, my deepest heartfelt thanks to the board of directors of Badr Samaa, Mr. Abdul Latif, Dr. P.A. Mohammed, and budding executive directors for all your support in organizing event of this nature. I wish to thank Ms. Haura Al-Baluchi for anchoring the program. You kept the entire function live and energetic. Please give a very big round of applause by engaging the audience and delegates. My gratitude to the CEO, Mr. Samir, Group Medical Director, Dr. Benny, CEO, Mr. Jacob, Dr. Justin, CFO, Mr. Alvin, all branch heads and medical leaderships for the coordination extended to make this event successful. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. We have been fortunate enough to be backed up by a team of dedicated branding and events team headed by Mr. Asif Shah and marketing team. Our congratulations and appreciation to Mr. Asif and team. At the very end, my special appreciation to Sheraton staff for all their support for providing us with a healthy ambience for a high voltage program. And my special thanks to my good friend, Mr. Sornik, who has also been entertaining us with the keyboard. Once again, thanks everyone for a gracious, for gracing your presence with your gracious occasion, and we look forward to having many more occasions in the future. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Heartfelt concluding speech. Thank you to all our attendees for celebrating this joyous occasion with us today. 20 years of Badr Al Samaa Group of Hospitals. Thank you to our patients for trusting us. Thank you to our staff for your dedication. Thank you to our managing directors. And thank you to everyone who helped organize this event. You may proceed to have dinner. Thank you, everyone.